Hey, welcome back to my gallery. So I got this finished yesterday. So this is the block-in for the winter scene that I'm going to be painting at the next paint-along. We had a really busy day yesterday. Cameron got this image photographed, got the giclées printed, got them bundled up, and he's on his way now to our framer to get them stretched. And then now, once I get this done, I'm about to start on a big scene, and I'll maybe do a time lapse of that. So stick around, and we'll get to that. So I'm just waiting for Cameron to get back. He is off this morning to deliver all those giclées to our framer to get them stretched. And I'm about to start on this big 3x3, which is a Burleigh Falls scene. But I want to get some shots of actually me mixing the paint, and I'll talk a little bit about the way I set up my palette before I start. So I'm just waiting for him to get back before I go ahead and start on this. Hey, everything go okay at Gus's?
Yep.
When did he say he's going to have them ready?
Thursday.
Okay, I need you, those two giclées there, they need to be packaged up and delivered today. And then I also need you to do some shooting for me before you go. And then I'm going to set it on time lapse of this painting I'm starting, okay? So I'm about to mix my colors for the painting. You can see here, it's upside down for you guys, but you can see that's the photo that I'm working from. And I like to have that ready and out within my sightline while I'm mixing my colors. And I use different colors for every single painting. I probably have about 50 different paint colors in my drawers here. And I try to choose the colors that I think are gonna allow me to mix the colors that I want here. So let's see what I have here. I've got a cadmium yellow light. I've got a cadmium yellow medium. This color is called Indian Yellow by Holbein, but it's very much like a quinacridone gold. We've got a cadmium yellow deep, cadmium orange, cadmium red medium, got a magenta. This is a luminous violet, which is a color also by Holbein, which is amazing. Then we've got a phthalo blue, we've got a turquoise, we've got a phthalo green. This is a mint green, another color from Holbein. And then we have a cadmium green light, and then we have a leaf green also from Holbein. Now the thing about the Holbein colors is they're very, very expensive compared to some of the others, but they produce some really brilliant colors that you cannot get in other paints and you can't mix. And you know me, I really love my brilliant colors. So for most of my colors, just your basic cadmiums, your phthalos, I'll use one of any number of different brands, basically in terms of whatever paint's on sale. But for those very specific colors from Holbein, I'll pay the extra money for those just because I can't mix those colors. So when I'm going to start off, again, I look at my photo and I'm going to start, and this palette is only going to be for my sky colors because it's going to take me at least a day or two to paint skies. So I'll start kind of mixing my dark blues first, and I'm looking at just mixing that darkest blue in the sky. And I just know from experience that phthalo blue and white, titanium white, is going to give me that darkest blue that appears in the sky. Now all I have to do is add a little more white to it to get slightly lighter versions of that. But as that sky becomes more into the turquoises, that's a very difficult color to mix. So that's where I'm actually going to go to my Holbein turquoise color and mix that into the phthalo blue and white. And then I'm also going to take a little bit of phthalo green, and we'll mix that over here, and we'll add a little more of the blue to that. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of this mint green into that. I think that's probably the best way to try to mix a turquoise, would be to mix that mint green in. But you can see it's still not quite as pure of a turquoise as I get from the turquoise from the tube. So that's a lot of the blues done for me, heading towards kind of the bluish greens. And then I'm going to add a little bit of this luminous violet to give me kind of a more purplish blue. This would be, now that I have this color here with a little bit of the violet, that's almost what I would get with an ultramarine blue. And it's important to keep cleaning my knife off if I don't want to, because phthalo blue is such a powerful color. If I didn't clean my knife, that would just keep mixing blue and blue and blue into this violet and really overwhelm the violet color. And you can see I'm mixing these subtle transitions from one color to another, almost like the color wheel. Funny enough. So we've got some people outside the gallery looking in the window there. So now I've got kind of my blues through purples, all of kind of my cooler colors. Now I'm going to get into the warmer versions. So we have that transition from the sort of greenish turquoise into this cadmium green light. And then this leaf green is a really beautiful color that has a lot of power too. So it mixes these very light, intense kind of yellowish greens. And now over here we have to go kind of into the reds and into the yellows and oranges. And there's not an awful lot of actually red in here, but it's more that I can use that to mix with the orange to give me those, there's little hints, subtle hints of that orange in the sky. And then we'll mix more of the yellow and that marigold color. The thing I love about it, it's if you've ever painted in watercolor, it's like a quinacridone gold, that it's a very bright, intense yellow, but it's transparent. So it'll allow you to warm up other colors without taking them lighter, like a yellow will do. And this is where I need a little more of that red influence in here, just to give me some of the those orangey colors. And then now I'll just do kind of a final check on my photo, and maybe we just need a little bit of the cadmium yellow light down here for both take the greens a little more into the yellow and to take those oranges into the yellow. And that is how I set up my palette. So pretty much every time I do a painting, I'll set up my palette like this, and you can see I've got a generous amount of paint on here. One of the things I always see with students, or often see, is they're so stingy with the paint, and they have these little tiny mixtures, and then they're constantly having to remix and remix their colors. I would rather kind of waste a little bit of paint, but have generous mixtures of this, so I don't have to keep going in and remixing colors. And then the other thing is, so I'm using water-soluble oils, and I use, this is called a Masterson Stay Wet palette. Now it's like a giant Tupperware container, and what you do is when you're finished, you put your palette in here, and you seal it up, and it will make those paints actually last quite a bit longer. Now this is actually made for acrylic paint, and then if you're using it with acrylic, then it comes with a sponge that goes in that you wet, and a special kind of paper that really keeps the acrylics wet. But for the oils, I don't need that. All I need is to keep the air off them so that the paints don't dry and oxidize. So I just have a piece of foam core. This is like an old election sign that's cut to size, and then I use the Canson palette paper, And it's almost like a wax paper that's made for mixing paints on. And then when I'm finished with this palette, I'll scrape off any paint that's still usable for my next piece, and then it just goes in the garbage, and then you put a new piece of palette paper down. So that's how I set up my palette. Well, I think I'm going to call it for today. It's getting close to 6 o'clock. I'm open until 7 tonight, but I'm leaving on the weekend, going away for the East Central Ontario Artists Association. We have our annual weekend. It's our annual AGM, as well as there's workshops. I'm just going up there to paint, but it's a really good time. It's a bit of a party and a big get together. There's usually over 100 artists up there. So I've actually got to get all my stuff packed up tonight, so I'll be ready to go tomorrow. And during the next vlog, I'm going to do a video about the trip, and I think you'll really enjoy that. So that's it for now. I will see you next time.